What's happening? It's the third live. All right, so before everybody jumps on, just wanted to say that for the past two lives, I've been highlighting, black-owned businesses. So today's no different. I wanted to highlight a black-owned business that was started by a friend of mine, Jamila. It's called Brooklyn Tea. So Brooklyn Tea was founded by Jamila and her husband, Alfonso. They launched their online tea business in 2017. And then they built it out to a Bed-Stuy location. And now they've got two shops nationwide, wellness boxes, tea education, even a scholarship program. And like their mantra is healing, ritual, community. So yeah, if you haven't heard of Brooklyn Tea, go check them out. Go follow them. Go support. It's an amazing company. All right. All right. Looks like Ian's already here. Come on, punctuality. Let me go ahead and invite you, my brother. My dog. What's up, man?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Good. What's today? Tuesday? I'm lost in my days already. Good
Yeah.
Tuesday today. Good work day. Can't complain.
Good, man. Good, bro. So, again, before we jumped into it, just wanted to kind of give you your flowers. I'm gonna talk about your intro and your bio a little bit later, but just wanted to first off start it off by saying how much I appreciate you, how this isn't for everybody. I get it. Like it's not an easy thing to do to talk about, your preferences and your type in front of, a lot of people, whether they're here now or watch it later. But to me, it just shows that like you're a solid guy who can stand on like the things that he says. And like clearly you're single, you know what I'm saying? You're here, right? So you're not playing games.
Yeah,
So just shout out to you, bro.
I appreciate that, man. And I think that since our first call that we had, man, you're methodical about the process, and I really, really respect the work that you put in. The why, right? We talked about the why, and it's very evident with you. So I just got a lot of respect for that.
My man.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So thank you. So yeah, just wanted to kind of set the tone real quick, give everybody like the house rules. We've done this a couple times before, but just want to reiterate it. This space isn't about performing, right? Like we're not trying to be like the internet, right? We're not trying to go viral off of hurting people, saying shit that, you don't really believe, but you just know that, everybody wants to hear. Um, I believe we can have a real conversation. It could be like helpful and still cool. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't have to pander to some toxic shit. It's about letting people be honest. Like I forgot who it was. Was it LeBron or some of those other NBA guys? They said that they started uninterrupted because that's what they wanted to be. They wanted to be uninterrupted. They wanted to be able to talk about their viewpoints, their own narratives without necessarily being cut off or told, what they can and can't say. So this is essentially very similar to this. And just want to just let everybody that's, watching know that, nobody's perfect. So as you're watching this, I ask that not judge anything you may hear, right? It's about understanding the way that they show up and knowing that like, hey, if that's not something for you, that doesn't mean that they're wrong, right? That's just their own preferences. And yeah, I just want to keep it honest and respectful, right? Like again, we're not trying to go viral off of hot takes. So yeah. Anything you want to add in, or you kind of
Nah,
good?
it's cool, man. I know what I'm getting myself into. I was just trying to see if my dad's here yet, but hey. He'll jump on if he wants.
Hey man,
He's
you're getting
probably
something too. So
gonna call me and ask me how to get on. You know how old folks are.
you need to take a break. Need to call him, or you
Nah,
think
no,
he'll
we're
figure it
good.
out?
We're good. We're good. I'll send it to him later, if anything. But nah, you hit the nail on the head. I think that yeah, judgment free zone. But again, this is the internet, so you got to kind of know that it's gonna come with a little bit of feedback every now and then.
Yeah. Someone said how'd they get Kobe Jones on the show? Do you know who that is?
Yeah, that's my boy. He's seeing the USA jersey and
Hey, okay, okay.
yeah.
All right. Put me on. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll jump into just a quick bio that I wrote for you. And then as you know how this works, you've actually done the private one-on-one. I think compatibility is across 9 areas, so we'll cover kind of what you said for each of those, and then I have a question for you that can kind of let everybody else know where you stand. So if there's someone that likes what you say, can reach out, and then we can figure out if they're compatible or not. But I'm also going to be trying to match you with the people that's already in the pool. So let's jump into it with the bio. All right. So Ian is 33, 6 foot. He works out. You can tell. He's 165. You 165? My
Getting up there.
dog. Okay. Okay. No, that's low. I'm not gonna tell you what I
Yeah.
am. He works in tech sales, and he does really well for himself. I'm not gonna put his business out there, but trust me, he does really well for himself. And what was cool, he said he would date someone who makes significantly less than him too. He goes to therapy, and when I asked him, what's your attachment style, he knew what that was, and he happens to be securely attached. Um, and I mean, not to mention, like I said, right? He's doing this, so that means that he has nobody out there thinking that they're in a relationship, or at least I hope not, because we're gonna see. Um, I just don't want to discount that fact, right? But honestly, what stood out the most for me wasn't his strong numbers; it was your discipline. This man doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, and truly shows up for himself daily, mentally, emotionally, and physically. He's serious about it. He found my page through a referral from a mutual friend that I trust tremendously and know personally. And he filled out the questionnaire. Like I said, he booked that private one on one with me and he talked about his preferences in detail. So I really got to know him. I saw how mature he was. And what stuck out for me afterwards was like, man, this guy really knows what he wants and also like what he needs just based off of who he is. He told me straight up, he said, look, at 25, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I put in the work and now I know who I am. He is securely attached. He's emotionally available. He ranked himself 10 out of 10. He's a leader. He said, if I lead, I need someone who can follow without fear and speak to the king in me. So shout out to the king in the full reference there too. Peep that. He gives love through quality time and physical touch and receives it best through acts of service. And if you're wondering what kind of woman draws him in, well, that's what we're about to get into. Um, but I just wanted y'all to know that this man is emotionally available. He's self made, he's faithful, he's grounded, and he's crystal clear about what he's looking for and what he'll do in order to keep you. So, yeah, man, with that, why don't we get into it?
Let's do it.
All right. All right. So, emotional intelligence, that's the first out of 9. We'll start there. So, like I said, you rate yourself as 10 out of 10 emotionally available. You go to therapy, you try to lead with your self-awareness. A quote you said was, I show up for myself every day and I need someone who shows up for themselves too. So my question to you is, when did emotional growth become personal for you and how has that changed the way you love?
Yeah. This is a great first question, but the emotional growth piece comes from I think when I stopped or I learned that I had people pleasing tendencies,
Mhm.
that was really tough for me to come to terms with. Where it was like really high expectations on people, when really it was just like a not a true genuine feeling about myself. I didn't really know who I was. So I had to go search for that. I had to go find that. I had to go do the things that made me happy versus making everybody else happy. So it was tough. It took a while. Like you mentioned, I stopped drinking. I stopped smoking. That was the toughest. But yeah, it's been one of those things where you have to go and you have to find what your purpose is, right? Like what it is that makes you happy, and instead of everybody else. I was falling whim to the desires and to what everybody else wanted me to do.
Mhm.
And that changed. I think that I talked a little bit about like the three phases of love with you, and I actually looked it up. It's been theorized by a couple of philosophers in the past, but that self love piece is in there. That phase is in there. So I think just once I got to that point, after that, it's kind of been just a upward journey. It's been great. Life is good.
Say more about those three phases, bro. Like I know we talked about it, but I think it's important for
Yeah, I
everyone.
don't remember them exactly. There's a couple different ways that people go about it, but the first one for sure is lust. That they talk about that one quite often as being the first one. And then there's that self-love aspect, but then there's also the aspect of finding what it is that you like. And for me, I think that, everybody goes through those three phases. Men and women, I think, go through it just a little bit differently on the last two, but um yeah, I mean, it takes some people into their 40s, I think, some men, until they truly, truly love themselves, identity tied up in work and other things when you haven't kind of like spread yourself out to be a couple different things, and you can always pull on those to have an identity in. But some people just put it all in one thing, and then when they don't have that thing anymore, it's rough.
Absolutely. And then like so you said that was kind of like at 25 or at 25
Uh,
that's kind of what you were going through, but then
yeah,
like when did you
probably after my last relationship, probably about 28, 29 is
28,
when,
29 and
yeah,
it was
yeah. Tough conversations with my dad as well.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it was just off the back of not really knowing myself. And the relationship obviously got to that point where who are you? I don't know who I am. And then just the end of the relationship. So
Yo, bro. I mean, I think that a lot of people don't realize what you realized at 28 until they're 38, 40, 45.
hmm
You know, I think that what I sense when we walk through this in our one-on-one, bro, is that you're sincere and like you're not trying to play with it, man. Like you're literally on a mission, which is dope to see. So just wanted to give you space to kind of talk about that journey for yourself. So
yeah.
appreciate you.
Yeah, it's changed. The last part of that question was what it's changed for me in terms of love is I just show up as my genuine self now, and it feels good.
Mm,
Feels great.
that's fire.
Yeah.
I love that. So we gotta find someone who loves your genuine self, who loves you for you
Might be
raw,
tough these
right?
days, but we'll see. We'll see.
Nah, bro, I think we're gonna be all right. I think. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
judging from some of the stories we both saw ahead of this, I think you're gonna be good, brother. All right, so let's move to communication and conflict. So when I asked you, if there's a conflict, like what do you prefer? Like, do you like space or do you like to talk about it immediately? And you said that you wanted to have that dialogue immediately if possible. You value curiosity and truth telling, but what you can't stand is passive aggression, right? You were like, just don't weaponize your silence. And I felt like that really hit for me too, because I think that's something that a lot of people can experience but don't know how to put into words, right? I love how you put that. Don't weaponize your silence for me. So I guess my question for you was, how do you balance your need for direct conversation with your expectations for feminine energy in conflict? And what's one thing women get right or wrong in that moment for you?
Yeah. So I think on this one, I've just truly felt that like any conflict, any situation that comes up, any argument, um, any disagreement is typically, if it gets to a point of getting out of hand, people are yelling, anything like that, I think it is primarily on the man's duty to lead that boat to safety, right? Any conversation that you have with your partner, you should be leading that conversation in a way that it doesn't ever get to that point. So I'm just somebody who looks at, sorry, I'm just somebody who looks at those situations as, you should be in control of your emotions as a man, I think a lot of things can get out of hand when you react. So it's important to look back on some of those conversations that you do have, reflect, and just understand that you probably had control over that situation until either you said something in a manner that sparked the argument or sparked the passive aggressiveness. Um, and I think that it's important for not just you to manage your own emotions, but to manage her emotions in a way. I think there's a great I follow this really awesome page that has a panel of people who speak, and a woman actually was talking about how you better be ready for a healed man because he's going to manage his emotions, he's going to manage your emotions, right? So
Yeah,
being able to deal with that, I think, is paramount. But um, the what do they get wrong? What do they get right? I think that they get right a lot of the time that we're the emotional rock. I think a lot of times we're the emotional rock, and there is or should be a time when it's prompted to say, um, I just need you to listen at this current moment or for this whatever I'm telling you about. Except it doesn't always get prompted, right? We just jump right into it, and then as men, we're like, I can fix it.
yeah.
I can fix that. I know how to deal with that, right? So
Right.
I think yes, that does need to happen. I think a lot of women have asked for that. Um, the ones that I've talked to, I just need a man to listen. Let us know if that's the case, right? Don't just jump right into it. And again, I think it could be on us a little bit as well to go and say, do you need me to listen right now? Do you want feedback? Those kind of things are important, but I don't want to um, gloss over the fact that like I'm not going to bed mad at you. Like that's not happening. You know what I mean? We're gonna hash this out. We're gonna be comfortable. There's going to be enough trust in the relationship that we're going to talk through this, and I'm going to lead the conversation in a way that gets us to a clear resolution. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
I mean, I heard that too. I think that was probably tonight's conversation. I can't remember that where that conversation came
yeah,
from. But one of the things that like I usually try to say or remind myself of is like you have a choice between being a thermostat and a thermometer, right? Like a thermometer is going to be able to tell you what the temperature is, right? The thermometer is like, yo, it's cold up in here. Like, okay, I know it's cold. I'm gonna hit you with the cold energy. Or yo, it's hot. Like, oh, you hot, I'm hot, right? But a thermostat can not only know the temperature, but it can also reset the temperature, right? So it's like, yo, like it's hot up in here, but you know what? Let's take an hour,
yep.
and let's come back to this. But here's the thing, you really got to come back to it in an hour. I don't listen, learn from me. Sometimes I'll say that, bro, like
uh,
that's been a big switch for me. Like,
yeah,
just if you say I need 30 minutes, I can right now, an hour, I can right now. Come back to it in that 30 minutes or hour, set a timer, because it's not gonna just go under the radar. But I mean, it sounds like you have that down. So like I said, man, just really excited to hear you say that at such a young age.
33.
33 is
All
young.
right,
Yeah, maybe.
all right. I'll take it. I'll
All
take
right,
it.
all right, all right. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about financial mindset. All right, so like I said, I'm not gonna put your business out there, but this guy does really well. Okay, so well over, the six figures that everybody seems to want. And he has that provider mindset. Um, and here's the coolest part. Like he said that he was open to women, his partner making significantly less. And I mean, you mind if I say the number you said you were cool with, bro? Like, is that cool? Or I could choose not to.
No, you say it. Say whatever you want.
At 30K. I just thought that was so dope. 30K, to 100K, but again, it's not about matching paychecks for him, it's about alignment. So yeah, that was really cool to see. And I think you really mean that too. So my question to you is, when a man says he wants to lead and provide, how do you define that in action? And how do you keep money from being a power dynamic, right? Like if you're making all the money you're making, and let's say I match you with somebody who makes 30K, like how do you make sure that like you don't make that difference in income power dynamic that doesn't allow her to have some autonomy.
Yeah. The action piece, real simple, I think for me is like it can be as small as walking on the right side of the street between her and the cars, and things like changing the oil. I know guys, a lot of guys these days are like, yeah, I'll take the car to go get the oil change and deal with the people at the shop. Change the oil, man. Change the tire, change the brakes, check the car, make sure that she's driving in a safe vehicle,
There you
right?
go. There you
Just make sure that everything that she touches is safe and is monitored by you, especially if you pay for it, right? Take care of it. Um, and then I think that staying focused on the the not I want to say goals, uh, stay focused on the long term vision. I think is the more important piece. I think people lose sight of that. It's real easy to get caught up in the short term fun, the short term, like, you know, you see your friends going and doing stuff, and well, we can go do that, right? But the long term vision is that we got a couple acres, and so let's maybe not spend that money right now, kind of thing. We might have it, but let's make sure that those roles that we've put in place for our relationship, and then that long term vision is solid, right? And that is what we're aiming for. That's where our, the nose, we got the nose pointed in the right direction, and we're always going towards that. We don't divert just because we saw a little island that looks like it's got a party going on. You know what I mean? We keep going to the mission. We're going to the promised land. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
So, like, do you like to? So, you kind of alluded to island. Like a lot of people in Europe right now, Italy.
Costa
Like, do
Rica,
you like
man. I know
Costa
so many people that have
Rica?
been to Costa Rica lately.
Okay.
Yeah, like four or five people have been to Costa Rica.
So, do you like traveling like that?
Yeah,
Like, would you
yeah,
have a travel budget? Like, if she
yeah,
likes to travel,
yeah.
okay.
Look, like I want to be able to show my woman the world, right? Like I've been outside the country a handful of times now, and I think that's the best thing, right? That truly having those experiences, seeing new places, seeing new cultures, that is so important. That is
Yeah,
so important.
that's what's up, brother.
Yeah.
You're saying all the right things. All right, but now I'm gonna throw in a comment
Okay.
that came through DMs. All right, so it's from my friend Tony Y Fit, or Tony T Fit.
Mhm.
Apologies. She said, "What's the alternative to traditional values?" Right. So let's get into it. When people hear traditional values, traditional roles, because that was what I used in the caption for this. I think people think about 1950s, right? But to me, you have like a more nuanced take on what traditional means to you. So I just wanted to give you the space to answer that question.
Yeah, I think that I didn't tell you this, but I'm gonna deflect this a little bit to you just because I'm not the expert in this. My guy's
Ah,
the matchmaker here. Hold on. I'll
let's
answer it.
go.
I'll
Let's
answer it.
go.
But I want your take as well. I want
Yeah.
to hear because I struggle with this one, obviously looking at it and trying to like, all right, like let me think about this because it is a good question. I think my take on it from a very like I'm just the guy here getting interviewed is it's obviously got to be modern values. I think it's going to be 50-50 if I could guess. If we're going the complete like alternative slash opposite of traditional values, I think it would be a woman-led relationship. Um, but that's like the only alternatives that come to mind. I don't know if there was more to that you wanted in terms of an answer to that question specifically. But my take on the traditional stuff is that is or traditional values in a relationship is that men and women I think are equally valuable to society. We both mean almost the exact same. In We're equally valuable to each other in relationships. We just have different strengths and weaknesses. I think when it comes to how we play those roles in relationships. So I don't want to force my woman to have to change her brakes. Like it's a good thing that she knows how to do that, but I'm not putting my woman through that. I'm okay handling that. I know that that's my duty. So
Yeah.
those are just the things. The protector provider mindset is very important to me, and I think that having a woman uh, that mirrors that on the other side with her feminine energy is going to be important. I think so.
Nah,
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, if you ask from my perspective, as you did, that's funny. Um, I would say like the alternative to traditional values is literally, you know, something that's more dynamic, that's more specialized based on both of your own kind of like uh, uh weaknesses, strengths, just the reality of where y'all are at. Sometimes traditionals is just so set in stone. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, the man always does this, the woman always does that, you know.
Hmm.
But shit, my wife went to Wharton, so it's like, she's gonna know some things that like I don't
Yeah.
know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, or she's going to be able to lead in other ways that, don't necessarily affect my manhood because I'm not necessarily just someone who has to do it a certain way. I think that certain things can be fluid. Now, to your point, I'm not ever letting her take the trash out, right? Like that's my job. Like I'm not. There's certain things. I'm not changing the oil. Shout out to you for changing the oil. I'm not changing the oil, but you know what I'm saying. Like if I did, I would do it. You know what I'm saying? Not her.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my take.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you throwing that back. Pause on me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hot take, because you asked me to put something in there.
yeah.
Um, Real quick. Men run the world, women run men. Is as simple as I can put it.
Hmm. I might have to agree with that, brother. Don't yell that out,
Yeah,
but I
don't
might
yell
have
it
to
out,
agree with
but that's my hot take.
that.
That's my hot
It's
take
like
for your
nah,
wife.
it's like nah, everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about relationship goals.
Hmm.
All right. So one of the things that popped out was you're super intentional, man. So like when in a world where everybody's running from commitment, it seems like that's exactly what you want. You want commitment. And you're not interested in performance. But the thing is, you want it at your pace. Like you're open to different pacing, but it's really important for you that the pacing is right, right? You don't want to be pressured into anything. Is that true?
Uh, Absolutely. And I don't want like somebody else to feel pressured. Like that's the worst thing, is somebody else feeling pressured into trying to make this thing work or trying to force it, overlooking their red flags. Like that takes away from the desire. If for on both sides. You not feeling desired and her not desiring you because there's this glaring red flag in front of her.
All right. So like what does dating with patience look like for you?
Yeah, I think honestly, it's getting. I'm still refining it. Come back to me in like 6 months. I'm still figuring it out. Like it's a little bit of a process. I just know that I'm not driven by some of the normal things that I think most men are. I'm not out trying to like holler at women at a bar. I go every now and then with some of my buddies just to drive them, right? Designated driver. But if I'm out, I'm not like pursuing women because that already sets the dynamic, I think, in the wrong orientation. Like if you ask most women on here if they get slid in the DMs on Instagram or they've never seen a guy before, but he comes up to her at the bar trying to buy her a drink, what does he want typically? Right?
Mhm.
So that's why you got to look for those cues, I think. And I'm only going to be in spaces that I'm wanted, not tolerated.
Mhm.
Right? That's one of those phrases some online person has said, and I've picked it up, and I loved it. I liked it. I think that I think that it's really easy to tell if a woman is wants you and desires you. And it's also easy to tell these days, especially like when she doesn't, when she's not interested, she wants you to chase and play the game, right? So
So like, you I'm just kind of projecting here, going off historical data, but you're probably gonna have some, I mean, women in your DM, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like specifically, like let's say after this, after
mhm.
you've kind of said what you like, what you don't like. There may be someone who qualifies and says like, "Yo, me." Like, so is that something that you are open to? Like, you're not judging someone for saying that there's an interest, right? So at the same time, it's like, why you can not want someone who's in everybody's DMs, like they're in yours, like that's cool. Okay.
So much better because it starts the dynamic off the right way. You're going in the right direction, you're working towards the
Yeah.
relationship, not me with the hunter mindset. I might have all these things together, quote unquote alpha male, but I think there's a clear distinction between a masculine man and an alpha male, right? Is that the masculine man, I think he kind of sits with his energy and isn't necessarily out there hunting every opportunity he gets. He's more
Right.
methodical with dating and making sure because uh, now the name of the game is any successful guy that I've talked to makes a little bit of money, has an entrepreneurial mindset, does a handful of different things. His a lot of times he'll say that the most important decision that he's made is the
Wife.
woman that he's chose. Yeah,
Yep.
is his wife. So um, yeah, I those kind of things just
So
play
you're not
constantly
trying
in the
to
back
be,
of my
you're not
mind.
trying
I'm
to,
like,
yeah, I see
yeah,
what you're saying. So
yeah,
you're saying you're taking that decision very seriously. And so someone can DM you because that's how you vet. Like that's how they can start a conversation with you. But like meeting them at the bar, that's not necessarily how you ideally would like
yeah,
to meet the
yeah.
person that you are
I mean,
taking very
even
seriously.
think about the environment, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, everybody's there to peacock and put their best clothes on and smell the best and look the best and just get picked up for the night. Usually there might be the occasional. I haven't been out in 6 months. My friends drug me out, but
Yeah.
I just yeah, it's still. I think I've got a lower chance and a better chance probably like I'm doing yoga. I'm doing all these sort of extracurriculars, but like the grocery store, right? Like I know my mom would love for me to find somebody at the grocery store. So.
What grocery store you go to?
uh, I Trader Joe's, the one off Shepherd, and then I go between a couple different Whole Foods because now that I don't drink, I'm a bit of a water Nazi. So like I look for
Okay.
the really really good water. This glass bottle, I got a bottle right here, but Mountain Valley, try to look for that. So
Mountain Valley. All
yeah,
right, shout out to
so
Mountain Valley.
Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, Sprouts. Trying to find a good farmers market on the weekend, but haven't found a good one yet. So.
Absolutely. Okay. I'm an HEB's guy myself,
HEB's
but
good. HEB's easy, but I got Gulfgate right here, so HEB
uh,
they don't always have the best
okay.
stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
No,
it's always a
I used
madhouse
to
in
live over there.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, facts.
Yeah.
That's true. All right, so let's talk about lifestyles and values. So you are when I asked about like your faith, you said faith-based, but not necessarily like church bound, like you're not necessarily going to church every weekend. Um, but it's about peace over flesh for you. Like it's spiritual. So maybe talk a little bit about like your spirituality and like what you're open to into
Yeah,
life.
so I'm kind of actively pursuing faith, looking for a good church to go to. I've been one of those people that has was in church early on in life. My uncle's a pastor, so my dad's side of the family spent a lot of time in church, and for me, I think right now I am focused on the journey and the pursuance of like the God that exists within me. It's kind of a tough thing to describe, but I think that
Mhm.
there's this power that lives within all of us, and I want to make sure that I go to a church for the right reason. So it's something I've been sort of discussing with my dad on and off, and just making sure that I make the right choice with that. I don't want to go. I know a lot of people will say like, go to church because that's where you'll find a woman. I want to go to church to find myself. I
Come
want to make
on.
sure that I'm going for the right reasons. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
if that
bro. I
happens,
do.
that's cool, but I'm definitely trying to search for one that is going to fit just the way that I view spirituality and like the message speaks to me, right? So actively kind of pursuing that. And yeah, what else did I
You
have?
got
Oh,
you
you talking
got
about
a lot of love. Quick question, like you got a lot of love for the water choice. Just so you know, like a lot of Mountain Valley love. And then there was someone that said, "Come to TFCC," which is a church that's in Houston. I can forward it to you.
okay.
They do a lot of content online too, so it's a good opportunity for you to see if you like what they're up to before you actually go in. And then someone said that there's a East End Farmers Market on Sunday and Urban Harvest on Saturday. I don't know if
Yeah.
you're down for that, but that might sound like a date. You
Okay.
guys
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to me, Urban Harvest. I like some plants, some
And then
veggies.
the question I had, right, is like, what's a value or lifestyle trait you realize that you're not bending on? Like, no matter how fine, no matter how fun she is, like, good or bad, like you are her, like you're not bending on it. What's that?
Uh, you want her first or mine? You said hers, right?
Hers. Let's do her first. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, the attention seeking. Whew, boy,
Mm.
you can miss me all the way with that one. It's just I've been in situations where you have a couple of good dates under your belt with somebody, and and the next day, like you spend a couple hours with them, and the next day it's let me go to Instagram and post the gym selfie where we're showing off and it's like I just spent the last 3 weeks with you, hanging out with you. It's like my attention wasn't good enough, kind of thing. And it's a battle that we're gonna fight, just because that's society these days. Attention pays. So but yeah, I think that at the core you can kind of see when people are very much um they desire that attention. They need it. They quite literally can't live without it.
Yeah.
So that's a trait I just, yeah, like I told you before, like I think the best things are hard to find.
There you go.
Best things ain't out there in the open. They're hiding away somewhere.
Absolutely. And so, like, would you prefer that someone like just has an Instagram, but like, it's not that you prefer someone who doesn't have Instagram or like posts everything. It's more so like just be tasteful with what you share and what you
Yeah,
post.
like look,
Yeah.
if I can't show my dad or any of my coworkers, if I can't pull your Instagram up and be like, here's this person's Instagram, we got a problem. We got a
Right.
problem. No, just look at this picture, because this 8 other pictures
It's
underneath it
that
are
one
all
pic,
booty
right?
cheeks.
Like, yo, just pull up her Instagram. Nah, hold on.
Yeah,
Just the
exactly,
one pic.
exactly. Just send me the
Yeah.
Instagram. Well, I can't even do that because here's a picture of her, right? Because
Right.
this one she's not showing as much clothing. So
Right.
that one's come back to bite me a handful of times
Mm.
where I've overlooked that, and it was never a good choice to begin with. It was kind of, they always kind of like trickled back to that attention seeking behavior and need for attention. So
All right. So what's yours?
uh, I a lot of my guy friends are on here. They're probably going to agree or laugh. I can't get rid of the competitive nature, but I think it's good. AJ, we talked about this, right? Like it's important to have that edge a little bit. Like we want to go out there and win all the time, but uh, yeah, it ain't going nowhere. It ain't going. I know how to compartmentalize it now. I've been really good about, I'm not competing against my woman. There's no need for any of that. But I am somebody who, it's like a flip switches or switch flips when I get out
Yeah.
into the soccer field or get out into the golf course. It's a complete different, like I'm just locked in. I'm laser focused. I'm playing a different game. So
Absolutely.
that competitive nature is always going to be there. It oozes its way into my career. It oozes its way into basically everything that I do. But I see it as a plus. I see it as an attribute. So
Absolutely. I think that like a lot of times too as a black male, it's hard to be competitive at work just with how it's perceived, you know. So I think that sports has always been a healthy outlet for a lot of people. I mean, I know for me specifically, the competitiveness that I approach tennis or golf or basketball with, like, it's like that's a healthy outlet for me to let that shit out. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Versus like
Yeah.
wanting to do that at work.
Yeah.
So nah, man. So like, so okay, so you're into golf, you said soccer, like what other hobbies and interests?
So man, I do a lot, man. I built a PC. I don't know if you can see it, but it's behind me here. I built a computer. I got a couple of plants here, big, small plants.
Okay.
I played every sport growing up. So you want to play pickleball? I know somebody's gonna be like, yeah, let's go play. Pickleball's great. I'll go play that. Basketball, every single, if it's like an activity or a game, just know that I'm gonna be there trying to win. And that's sometimes a problem for people. So
So we
um,
just need to find you someone who's just competitive too and who
yeah,
likes
yeah.
sports.
Or is okay. Like once, like is like, yeah, go win, go beat everybody.
Yeah.
Like, let me help you go do
Go
that.
kill him.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, go kill
Exactly.
him.
Go get him. Go get him. Loves that
Absolutely.
aspect about me. Instead of seeing it as like I'm coming at you, help me, nurture that some. Let's see how far we can take that competitive nature. Because I know that there's still a ton left in the tank. I'm not done at my career. I'm not done in soccer. Yeah. Oh,
So
ask me what sport I'm best at. That's a good question. Blake, I'm gonna say I'm gonna say soccer. I'm gonna say soccer. I'm probably best at soccer.
is it like slight and then let's rank them.
Yeah, yeah. So soccer's probably one, golf's probably two. Um, I would say all the way at the very, very bottom, tennis for some reason. I've just never been
Mm.
able to swing a tennis racket, but if I got down to it, I probably could. Golf is up there, basketball's up there. I used to bowl in like high school,
Mm.
randomly just good at bowling. Like we'll shoot a 200, if I need to any given day. Um, yeah, I mean, obviously football. Like if we're out there playing flag football, I played flag a couple years, and it was great. Yeah, man. I don't know. Golf and soccer up there at the top. They go like this all the
What's your
time.
handicap
My handicap
for golf?
is I think it's floating out about a 1.5
Oh,
right now. Yeah, like a one. Yeah. Yeah. Trying to
okay.
get down to scratch, man. Trying to, but I
And
have
you're
a
better
surgery
at
next week.
soccer than at golf, and you're like close to scratch with golf.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so. Yeah.
That's fire, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. I just love the game too much, man. Soccer, I love both games, but both
You
sports,
see,
but
you don't know nothing
yeah,
about that though.
yeah, we saw that
You don't know
earlier,
nothing
man.
about
Like,
that blue jack.
you got
Yeah,
some blue jack.
yeah, I got
Yeah.
some Blue Jacks right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Shout out to D Leaks and Gold Links. He's
Yeah.
here, like an amazing company. In fact, we have a live tomorrow. We'll probably like highlight that black owned business. But now they're doing like amazing things in the golf world. So yeah, I'll say more about that tomorrow. Okay, so while we're still talking about lifestyles and values, Summer actually asked a question, right? She said, you know, when you had the caption about traditional values, right? She said, "Does that mean she has to cook and clean?" So, like, does it?
I mean, I'm just gonna say this. What if I hate answering a question with a question? It's not the right thing to do, but I'm gonna do it in this case. What if he cooks better than you? What
Mm,
what if he cooks? What if he's a chef? Like what? Literally, what if he's a chef? So I think it's just about knowing what the strengths and weaknesses are and filling the gaps, but understanding that the primary role is the protector and provider. Primary role is the nurturer, right, and the support system. So that's just the way I view it. But
So she cooks.
yeah, I mean,
She can cook better. You know, you
yeah,
cook
she
it.
could cook better. I mean, but
Yeah,
look, like again, knowing where the weaknesses are. If I want to come home and be recharged. I don't want to be come home and lose more battery,
there you
right?
go. Absolutely, absolutely. I think you fight out in the world every day. So while there's going to be arguments, you don't want to feel like you're in a constant fight at home. So I agree with you on that one, brother.
Yeah,
All right, so let's talk about attachment style and love languages. All right, so like I said, your attachment style was securely attached. So you knew about attachment styles, right? Like not a ton of guys know
yeah.
about attachment styles. I don't fault them. That wasn't something that like I always knew. So you clearly go to therapy. Like, how did you know you were securely attached? You take a test? Like, is that something you kind of arrived at after talking to a
I
therapist?
I think I arrived at it. I'm not. I want to be clear. I'm not actively going to therapy. I've
Okay.
been to therapy for in the past. They've given me the correct tools, and
Yeah.
then now I'm able to use those tools. I don't. Ongoing therapy is kind of a weird conversation to have. I
Mm.
think where you're just going like every single week, but some people need that. Some people got to talk about that kind of stuff. But I think it's important to get those tools from the therapist and then be able to use those tools on your own. But yeah, I kind of arrived at it. The security attachment. I think there's four, right? There's like avoidant, insecure,
Mm.
and then there's one other one which I don't know about. What's it?
Anxious.
What's anxious? That's right. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I think in kind of tandem with me understanding who I am, I think that's where that secure attachment comes from. I think that any of those other attachment styles all have to do with your perceived expectation of the way other people treat you. And that's because you're not okay with yourself. You're not okay with the way that you feel inside about who you are. And so it's this constant battle among the expectation that you send out and then what you receive and then how you're going to then portray yourself and act towards other people. So that's
Absolutely.
just yeah, that's the way that I see it. And again, I kind of arrived there once I used those tools that a therapist gave me, and started to become this person who is okay with who he is inside and understands what my purpose is.
That's fire, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about love languages. I asked you to rank your love languages 1 through 5, and your top two were with how you give love was quality time and physical touch. and your top one for receiving love was acts of service. And it's I guess my question was, what's one love language that you didn't grow up seeing, but you had to learn how to receive it?
Yeah, so I wouldn't necessarily say that I didn't grow up seeing it. Both of my parents were great at this, but it was more so with other people trying to give this to other people, and it's quality time. And for me, being an only child growing up, um, like I said, I did get that from my parents, but also like you got to find ways to keep yourself busy. I was a kid, kicking the soccer ball by himself, throwing the football by himself. Like I found ways, and having a big imagination, right? I didn't necessarily need that quality time. And even today, I don't necessarily need that from people. I don't like, I'm okay by myself, but I do recognize that there are people who, and especially women, right? When you get into relationships, they want that quality time. They want that time spent, the attention with them, right? And at home with them versus going out with the boys, kind of thing, right?
Mhm.
Even if it means just sitting on the couch hanging out. So I recognize that. It's been a little tougher for me because haven't always needed that. Like I just don't need it, but recognizing it in other people has been one of those things that has obviously come up in recent years. So
So that's interesting. So it's almost like you ranked quality time as like how you give it first, but it's also maybe not like the most natural, or things that like
mhm.
thing that like you want to do, but you realize that it's been really good to spend quality time. Like it's almost like you're trying to reverse engineer it. Like you're trying to
Yeah,
solve some of the things
exactly,
that go wrong
exactly.
by that's pretty cool, bro.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. I
that's
mean, it took me a while to recognize that, where like, I don't need to text somebody all the time. I don't, but I could, right? And
mm,
I could just let them know what's going on. I could let them know that, be proactive about the things that I'm doing and letting them know what's going, because I've never really had to do that. So just learning over time that, not necessarily over communication, but a level of communication that, you set with that person that you're, engaged with is really important. And a lot of the time that equates to quality time spent, right? Because we're on the phones all day, every day. So a lot of people do attribute a phone call, a FaceTime,
that's quality
or even simply
time.
or simply just calling them, or sorry, texting them, as quality time. So
So like what's your ideal way to communicate with someone? Is it FaceTime, text, call, in person,
show up. Let's go.
pull up
Let's
on you?
yeah, pull up on me. Pull up on me. That's how I am. Let's go do stuff together. Let's be face to face. You just feel somebody's energy a lot better. There's no way to do that over any video call, over any phone, unless you've already hung out with that person and you understand where their tone is coming from and how they're saying
Yeah.
things. But if you've never been around them and they're using a specific tone or anything around you, it's sort of tough to decipher that. So
You like pull up on me, like come in the stands, cheer for your boy.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
exactly. There's nothing better than that. Having a whole cheerleader up there, you'd be scoring all kind of goals, man. Three,
Man,
4 goals, put them away.
I did a video on that, bro. Like I know, bro. Absolutely. All these people talking about how they don't need somebody, don't need a woman. It's like, okay, answer me this. You're hooping, you're playing soccer, and then you see a girl come in with a homemade jersey that she made for you with the frozen
Bro, you might drop a
Gatorade.
hundred.
Like,
You might
come
drop
on,
a
man.
hundred.
Come on. So let's be honest about that.
Let's be
Like,
honest. Let's be honest. Yeah. And I am honest about it. I'm like, you don't even know. Everybody else will go away. It would just be me playing for you out there. It would just be,
there
let me
you
show you what I
go.
can do.
Y'all hear that,
Right?
ladies?
Yeah.
Make that man jersey. Okay. So, let's talk about deal breakers and red flags. I'm not gonna
Okay.
air out
Uh,
everything, right? But like the
uh,
main thing that you stress, bro, is like disrespect. You can't. You're good. Like, do not disrespect you. So maybe talk about what that means, or like where that kind of comes from, and then like if there's anything else you want to share, your deal breakers. Like I try to, I don't try to blow up people's spot with their deal breakers. I'm gonna handle that on the back end when I try to match you. But I guess another way to say deal breakers are just like talking about your boundaries,
mhm.
right? So maybe we approach it that way.
Yeah.
Like what's are you good with setting boundaries? Like, is that something you struggle with, or like, how's that progressed over time?
Yeah, I think uh I think sure 25, 26, yeah, was awful at it. Didn't even know what my boundaries were. And what I would be willing to put up with, and didn't have a clear vision, first of all. So hard to set like what the plan is. Here's my vision, and here's some boundaries that go along with that when I don't even know. So now it's been a lot easier. We vet them quick, and it's just like here's like what I'm willing to deal with, and here's what I'm not. I think a lot of times where that comes from a little bit is I think it gets disrespectful um, inadvertently 6 months into the relationship when you're like dating somebody, and they go do something that you never talked about, never communicated, and then
Mhm.
it becomes this blown up issue. Why do you care about this? And then people start compromising for things that should have been a boundary in the first place, and then the disrespect just compounds because they'll continue to do that thing. And if you compromised on it, then it's not a good look from you as a man, because deep down you know that that's not the right thing to do, right? But you just still just whatever, just disrespect me, just go out, and then now you're starting to take away from who you are. And that's a tough place for a lot of guys to live. I hear it all the time where it's like, I dated the guy for 6 months and then he just turned into somebody completely different. And that's usually because the boundaries weren't set in the beginning. And then 6 months into it, something happened, right? And you guys didn't know how to discuss it, or the communication lacked in a way where you didn't really trust what each other were saying. And it comes off as controlling and insecure and all these other things. I think from man's perspective, it's really tough these days to even have boundaries.
Mm.
I don't struggle with saying them just because I'm genuine and that's what I'll deal with. But I've heard that it can come off as controlling and insecure, but I think that only usually happens if it's 6 to 8 months into the relationship and something does happen where, oh, now we got to talk about this. Now we got to go over what I won't deal with and what I will deal with. But we're already 6 months into this. So,
So, like, how then do you have that conversation earlier to where you just kind of? I mean, I think this one-on-one is
yeah.
helpful. You know what I'm saying? Like, you talk about preferences, but like when you vet people, when you meet someone at the grocery store or on an app, when you were on the apps, right? Like, is that something? Do you kind of send them through a process? Like, are there things that you kind of look for,
Yeah.
like signs? Do you feel like you're
Yes,
good at seeing the signs and then you kind of go with your gut based off
getting
of
better,
that?
getting better.
Okay.
Learning to not trust my gut in some cases, but a lot of times if the red flag's there, you probably should just take note of that.
Mhm.
But I think bringing up different ideas or different conversations, like, oh, I heard this conversation, and like, what do you think about it, right? And like discussing that in a way, I know you talking to the king instead of the pawn, right? But
The
or what was
fool,
it?
queen and
Queen and
pawn,
pawn,
king and fool.
king and fool, right? So like being able to bring those discussions up where you're talking to the queen and her is important,
Absolutely.
and not necessarily just like laying it all out there like here's what I'll deal with and here's what I won't. I mean, sometimes it does take that. It just depends on what level you're at with that person. Who comes up to you at the grocery store, yeah, you're probably gonna go about that very differently from somebody that slides in your DMs on Instagram and is nothing but basically an OnlyFans model, right? Like you're gonna be like, oh, like, are you really serious? Like, are you
Right.
really about this kind of thing, right? So here's what I'll put up with, like, that's me, right? Versus again, somebody who's coming to you a little bit more feminine, soft with that approach. I think that those women, right, you got to know how to talk to them in a different way. So yeah, I think it's just being cognizant of that, but bringing up the conversation topic, and then like, well, here's kind of the way that I feel about it, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel about it? How do we feel about it? So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Okay, that kind of leads to, preferred relationship roles, right? I
Yeah.
think that everybody here who's been listening to you knows that, you're a leader. You want to be trusted, not challenged, but you can be challenged, but you don't just want to be challenged. I think you want to be challenged if, and I mean, this is just my take, but it seems like you can be challenged, but it's like, yo, don't just challenge me to challenge me. Challenge me if you have like a perspective that you want me to understand, and then we can have that discussion. Does that land? Is that true?
Yeah. 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 I enjoy a woman who's gonna push me, but not push me for the sake of her own uh her own personal benefit. Like we're both competing, going
Hmm.
for the corporate ladder here, and you're trying to take me down.
Hmm.
Like you like challenge me in a way that you know is gonna make me a better man, right?
Absolutely.
Talk to the king, as you so eloquently put it. So
My dog.
I love that phrase. I'm gonna carry that with me,
And keep,
brother. Carrying it
keep
with me. Yeah.
man, keep it going, bro.
Yeah.
So like, I guess my question when I wrote this earlier, I was just like, so like what signals from women like let you know she actually trusts your leadership? Or like even if she's like strong and independent too. Like, so how do you tell yourself like, okay, this leadership, this reign is going well? You know what I'm saying? Like, can you check in with yourself in the moment? Like, what are the signs that you look for or the signals you notice?
Yeah, I think it has to do with when sort of, I don't want to call them like roadblocks, just bumps in the road, not disagreements or arguments or anything like that, but pivotal moments that could change the trajectory of the relationship. When you're able to kind of when you're able to not get caught up in that short-term noise of whatever that situation is, and you're
Hmm.
able to keep your eye on the prize of that long-term vision that you've put in place, and hopefully she's asked and cares about and wants to nurture that, um then that's when I think I've found somebody who is is seeking the long term. We can get really caught up in the first 3 months or even the first week, right, of things that happen, and get a little emotional about those things. Even me, I've been in that space before, but I think it's important again to, like, when you check in and it's like, sure, that was one of those things where we had to come together, we had to have a conversation about it, built trust, but throughout that whole thing, you were able to keep that long-term focus, was my vision, right, which we spoke about, where we want to get to in hand. I think a lot of people will throw away a good 6 months of a relationship for something that, one, maybe could have been talked about in the beginning, boundary setting, all that stuff that we talked about before, since the beginning. But 6 months in, you've had a great time together, and then there's this pivotal moment that something happens. You guys talking about it's gonna be great, you know what I mean? And now it's all thrown away just because we didn't keep that long term vision, in sight. Now, I'm not condoning like any cheating or anything like that. It's not what I'm saying. I'm just, there's even smaller stuff than that,
Hmm.
way smaller stuff than that happens.
Right, like losing the battle or trying to win a battle but losing the war. You're just saying, I think one of the other
Exactly.
phrases is like cutting off your nose to spite your
Yeah.
face, right? Like
Yeah.
it's
Stepping over, a penny to pick up, or stepping over a dollar to pick up a penny.
mm,
Yeah.
I never heard that, but I love that.
Yeah.
I feel you though. I feel you though. And I think it just comes with like you gotta get somebody who sees the vision and reminds you of what you said you were going to do and maybe hold you accountable to that because
Yeah.
that's what I kind of got out of what you said. It's almost like it sounds like you just want someone who listens to you well and who can repeat the things that they heard to kind of keep you on track too, to maybe that's a way to kind of direct you too, be like, yo, like the
Yeah.
way I'm moving like this because I thought you said that that was what you were trying to do,
If
and
you,
then
yeah, if you want to call back to about 5 questions ago to my hot take, we can, man. Men run the world, but women run men.
there you go. You go. Okay. So last one,
Yeah.
man. Physical attraction. So this man prefers petite, under 5'4". Okay, he doesn't mind the makeup, but he actually prefers minimal makeup, natural hair, you know, naturally looking, right? Like, no BBLs, right?
Please
Like
keep that to yourself.
like so but it seems like you're also flexible. I love when people just tell me like what they are not into, right? So like but you're flexible if the energy's right.
Yeah.
But I want to know like what's something a woman has done visually or energetically that made her like unforgettable to you, and and approach this question like as good or bad. Like something she did is like, yo, I can never forget that. Like I'm good off that. Like you ruined it for me. Also, maybe look at it from a perspective is like, yo, like she did that. Like that really made an impact, and she was so much more attractive because of it.
Yeah, visually, uh, there's many names for them, but we're gonna call them eye weaves. She took off the eye weaves for me. She took off the eyelashes. I just can't do them. Me, I can't do them, brother. So visually, that's a move that and I'm gonna get a ton of flack for it, but I just got to be genuine to myself. They just,
Oh, that's
if I
funny.
tell you that you look better without them, it's just crazy that people are gonna be still wearing them. But hey,
Coming
it
for
is what it is.
the joints. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. So, uh, energetically, there's a couple of different things that can be done. I think one of the top tier things is like you're reading a book. Like I read a book last year, and then I had somebody that like read that same book so we could discuss it, which
Hmm.
was awesome. There was after you get through all the let's figure out what our values are and let's figure out if this is going to work. Now we can talk about what our favorite color is. She finds out what your favorite color is, and then she wears that to a date one time,
Hmm.
right? Anything that she tries to do that is going to like have your attention and only caring about her attention on you or on her, your
Absolutely.
attention on her. Yeah. So I botched that somehow, but you get what I'm saying.
No, I do. I do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it
She's listening to
tracks.
what you
It
like. She's
tracks.
listening to what you like, and then she's making a genuine effort to do those things. She's not about like, well, this is what I think looks beautiful. You don't care what I think looks beautiful because I think you look beautiful just without all the eyelashes and stuff. Yeah. So,
Absolutely. So like what are some things that like she can do to so okay, so you talked about energetically, but like what's something physically that you
uh,
could look for that makes someone attractive?
unattractive makes them
Like
unattractive.
more attractive. You talked about the eyelash, that's unattractive.
Oh
Like
yeah,
is there anything that someone can do? I guess more natural would be the what you can do to
yeah,
be
yeah.
more attractive.
I mean, any woman who's actively looking out for her health is in the gym in some capacity and like truly cares about and knows that that mind body connection exists. And I'm not saying that you got to be a weightlifter at all because I'm not. I'm far from being a weightlifter. But there's just that level of like I care about my body and I
Yeah.
care about what I put into my body. It's important to me, and I want to look good, not just like my face, which is total genetics, right? But everything else, I want to look good for my man. So yeah.
There you go, bro. Okay, so open floor. So if you have any questions, you can share them in the chat and I can, ask one. I have some that were sent to me. So even if you don't get any, I have more than enough here, bro.
Yeah.
I'm only gonna give you like two or three though. We're not gonna
Yeah,
hit you
yeah,
with
yeah.
the
Please, please, please.
quick.
I'm just seeing
All
who's
right,
in here. I'm just seeing who's in here. Hold on a second. Let me
you
see.
got it. Take your time, bro.
Yeah.
So listen, someone said if your future partner is watching, what's one thing you want her to know about how you love?
Uh, the simplest way I can say it is it's such a cop out answer, I think, but a love for real. That's just
Mm,
that's just the way that I see it. I mean, you're gonna get the most genuine love from me. I think that it's about loving yourself first. You can't love anybody if you don't love yourself, because then you're just looking for a reflection of what you want to love. You're looking for that mirror, and you're not gonna find it in other people. You got to find it in yourself.
mhm,
And so for the way that like if my future partner is watching, it's gonna be probably probably that I think it's more of a what's the word I'm looking for? Primal. It's like a I want more of me. There's this feeling of I want I love myself in a way that I would be happy if I had more of me running around. Well, I can't do that by myself. Let me find somebody that I love them so much that I want more of them. I want more of us running around. So
mhm.
that's like the primal feeling that I have, and I think that that is just a different level of. of like, when you just meet that person, you've been in a relationship for a long time, and you've learned so much about them that you love them so much that you want to create more of them. That's a different feeling.
Beautiful, bro. Well said.
Yeah.
What's one misconception women have about men like you that you wish you could clear up?
That we want to take women back to like the Renaissance era or 1950s.
Yeah.
We want to. I believe that women are the most beautiful creatures ever created. They should be protected and provided for. Let's do that, man. Like let the men who know what their purpose is. Let us do that. Let us do that. Pour into us. Let us become the best men possible. That's it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's all I had, brother. Well said. I think we end on that,
Okay.
man. Like I said, um, I'm just so impressed. I think that it's not going to be hard to match you. I already have people in mind, but I wanted to kind of do this live in order to see if there's anyone who saw this and, if you've done the questionnaire, they'll reach out and they'll say like, yo, put me in the running or like, let's see what our numbers look like. There's already been someone to do that. They asked if you were ready to have light skinned babies. I don't know if you saw that or not, but so I didn't expect that beforehand. So I got to factor that in. I got to run the numbers. But no, man. In all seriousness, just appreciate you doing this. You didn't have to, but I think it's going to be good. So thank you.
Yeah. I appreciate the time, man. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. This was awesome. I enjoyed
Already, bro.
it.
All right. See y'all. Thank y'all for joining. See y'all next time. Actually, tomorrow. Peace.
See you tomorrow.